Class, for this week, you will study chapter 6, which is about determining pricing decisions. And as you will learn, first of all, it is important to determine what are the marketing objectives of the firm, what the company wants to accomplish through the different pricing strategies and tactics to implement. And in addition to the objective, you got to consider other aspects such as the cost of production of delivering a service, legal and regulatory aspects, competition, of course, what other hospitality, tourism, and events offerings are there available for your target markets, other marketing mix variables in addition to price, right? Including distribution, including promotional activities, advertising, etc. And as you will see, among the common strategies for launching new products are prestige pricing, which is very common in tourism and hospitality products, right? For which you gotta keep a high perception of value in order for that to work. You have also market scheming, right? When a product or service is introduced at a high price, but it is going to be lower and be more affordable in the short term or longer term, depending on specific goals of the firm, or penetration pricing, for which the company will do heavy discounting in order to increase market share, for example. Now, in addition to, for instance, promotional pricing or discounting, you have other pricing techniques that you see on your screen that are typically used in hospitality and tourism offerings. And one of these that is widely employed and known in the industry is that of yield management that you see there. Yield management, which is the way it was known back in the 80s and 90s. And what you see now in your screen is something that is not in your textbook. That's what I have added this section here, because yield management evolves into what is now better known as revenue management. And again, this is something that developed after the airline industry deregulation at the end of the 70s, early 80s. But these techniques started to spread or become more popular in other tourism and hospitality companies, particularly those that have characteristics like relative fixed capacity, like in hotels, right? For example, or seats in an airplane, that have perishable inventory, that if you don't sell it on a given day, you cannot accumulate it for the future, that you can make segmentation of different markets so that you can offer different pricing orientations or price ranges, and those industries and businesses for which there is a fluctuation in demand. Now, this is something that you have in a supplemental reading that I included in this week, which is called Revenue Management. And the author, Sahin, he establishes or proposes two strategic levers for understanding and making decisions about revenue management. And these two levers are price and duration. So right now you have on your screen this document that is part of your supplemental readings by Sahin 2022. And here you see this framework that I am referring to, right? In which you have price on the horizontal axis, you have duration in the vertical axis. So please make sure to take a look to this. Now, the other chapter that you have to read this week is chapter 7 about distribution channels. And what you will learn here is the specific intermediaries that are part of distribution channels in the travel and tourism industry. Most widely known are the travel agents that perform different activities, as you see on your screen. But you also have tour operators, which are these middlemen or intermediaries that work with larger volumes of products like wholesale. And then some specialized intermediaries like corporate or meeting planners, convention planners, also travel specialists, very, very focused on certain travel segments. And you have the internet-based or online intermediaries. The most widely known are the online travel agencies or OTAs. Now, something important to consider when you look at this chapter is that there is not a single specific structure or arrangement in the different distribution channels or networks. You may have different formats. The one that you see here on your screen is the standard type of approach in which you have a service provider on top, which is either a hotel or a transportation or airline company, maybe a theme park, etc., who sells the products to tour operators in a wholesale fashion, and those in turn will sell down the distribution channel to travel agents who may sell to the specialists and finally to the consumer, to the tourist or traveler. But that is not always the case. Sometimes you may, for instance, skip the tour operator and the service provider will sell directly to the travel agents, and a travel agent may skip the specialist and sell directly to the consumer, or the service provider sell directly to the consumer without any intermediation at all, right? And this is possible with internet-based and digital technologies nowadays. So there is no a single arrangement or structure or configuration for distribution channels. What you see here is just the standard format that helps to understand the different variations that may evolve depending on the interest and incentive of the parties involved in the distribution. And in order to determine or decide what are the specific decisions or choices, you may have to rely on some factors to consider. And for that purpose, I have included a second supplemental reading. Again, this is not in the textbook. And this is an encyclopedia entry by Ali 2017 that lists the dimensions of channel quality. And why is this important? Well, because in order to decide whether to go with a exclusive distribution approach or a selective distribution approach, etc., you may have to look at one or more of the 7 dimensions of quality that will guide the marketer to decide which specific channels to use. And this is, again, something that you can find in the encyclopedia entry by Ali 2017, which you have available to consult. And in addition to those quality dimensions, you have a description, explanation of different intermediaries or members of distribution channels typical to hospitality and tourism. Make sure to take a look to this because you have also to complete an assignment this week, which will integrate the 2 chapters we are covering this time, which is pricing and distribution channels. In this assignment, you will be given partial data about the bookings, the rooms that are reserved in a hotel using 4 different distribution channels. So what you will have to do is make an evaluation of how much revenue and profitability these different distribution channels provide to the hotel in this scenario.